I got a different song for this.
We aren't your analysts, face it, repeat is pure gold. They hop on the forum fresh from their last loss. This card's OP, these provisions across, spamming their spreadsheets with data so skewed. Like they want that game, suddenly makes a card so Nerf Golden Necker, who stole my trash? Every other day, it's a new one in clash. They vote with their feelings, not logic or skill. The cry foul when their favorite deck gets the bill. All my Syndicate deck, it's unplayable now. Cause they hit you one combo when you don't know somehow to adapt or to learn, just revert and complain. Like the game owes you wins through sunshine and rain. They'll vote for a buff on a card nobody plays. Then wonder why the meta's still stuck in its ways. Or nuke something to oblivion cause they lost one to it. Forgetting the nuance, just throwing a fit. It's a popularity contest for the loudest damn voice. Not actual balance, just making a choice based on whatever streamer they last watched or heard. Not deep understanding, just parrot in a word. So
Hey, Retreat S.
take a breath, count to 10. Think beyond your deck, inconsiderable then. The whole damn meta will look like you clowns before you just click and bring everything down.
Did you write it before or after inventing Gwent? I was messing around last night.
Yo, settle down, let me just get this off my chest. Building Gwent experts, putting muscle to the test. The Balance Council, huh? More like the Blame Council, truth be told, where every unchecked.
Okay. Got a nice voice. Thank you. Yes, who knew I was also a musician? Hello, and welcome to my review of the August 2025 Balance Council. I will say that this month, I didn't issue my own recommendations. I don't think I even voted. I'm kind of over the council a little bit. I don't have a spreadsheet of who voted for what. If somebody has one of those, link it. It will be useful for the discussion to know who voted for each dumb change. But I'm still interested in, you know, we still have our weekly tournament, and I'm still interested in what people do. So, you know. Hopefully the music's not too loud. Alright, so this is a spreadsheet of who voted for what. Or is this is Shin's spreadsheet of predictions and whatnot. Like, are these accurate or are these like just guesses? I guess the ones that are guesses have a question mark. Alright. So I was playing Expedition 33 Claire Obscure. But we stopped to come over here and talk about the Gwent Balance Council. Alright, so let's start. Provisions increase Rage of the Sea. So the Rain leader got a provision buff. You all know how I feel about provision buffs to leaders. I think they're just a terrible idea. Because it's a form of power creep. And it's also like a leader that saw plenty of play. There's no reason to buff it. Most importantly, in order to revert this, in order to revert a leader buff, like people keep like nerfing Renfree and like other cards they think are problematic, but then they give the provisions back to the leaders. So people will still play those cards. But the biggest reason this is a terrible idea is because in order to revert it, you have to take a card buff slot. Because like giving a leader more provisions is a buff, but making a unit or special have more provisions is a nerf. Conversely, if you want to nerf a leader, you have to put it in the provision -1 category, which is usually where buffs to like dead cards go. So this is like 2 bad changes in one. King Crumb got nerfed. What? Why? What? Is this Lario's fault? I know he's been playing some Ogreoids. I mean, this card's been dumb, but like... without it, then nobody can play... like, what? Bro, if you're losing to Ogreoids, that's your fault. Or, you know, just don't get blue coin against Ogreoids. Okay, and then we have Tainted Ale. This is a like abuse card. So it's kind of eating a placeholder nerf. One moment. It's getting chilly in here. We have a command for that. It's excavation audio. Damn, it's washed. Did it stop doing that for a while or something? Usually like it lasts for 10 to 15 seconds and gets fixed. Is it fixed now? Broken card. Yeah, like... well, because it infuses it with 37, and 37 is OP. Yeah, I hate it when my cards infuse with 37. Me too, bro. Me too. It's not the usual audio weirdness. I see. It's a different kind of weirdness. That's unfortunate. It makes the infusion is anytime this card is boosted, take 1 damage. So the way that this is, they play this with like they play Sienna, then they play Operator into Heimei Protector. Yeah, I'll just fix it. Because I don't think Expedition 33 music gets copyright strikes. I just have to remember to fix it before later. So right now, both YouTube and Twitch should have the same audio, the same music. Let's make TDL 21 provisions for all the folks from Poland. Why? Do they hate green beer or something? Anyway, this is like, I haven't seen this deck in forever, so it's not really important, but people like to nerf it because nobody can defend the card. It's using a cheese deck. Morvid, I think this was a Paja nerf. From 12 provisions to 13. I mean, fine. Like, I don't mind this change too much. It was always weird that Morvid was like... Morvid was 1 less provision than Regis. And it was like easier. Like, you didn't have to do anything. You just had to like end the turn. And it keeps growing while in the graveyard as well. I haven't seen it at all this season, so I don't really know why it was like urgent. I assume Paja has a good reason for it. I would say that this is kind of a nerf to its like self-eaters. I know that this wasn't like, people weren't mad at this because of... This is right now only played in like Patterwing. Tattering keeps getting like nerfed. The real fix to Tattering is to not have Laura be 4 power, but we can't have that. So we do what CDPR, and then Cleaver got nerfed again. Oh, for fuck's sake, guys! Cleaver was unplayed at 11 power. Now it's at 11 provisions. Like literally, no one was playing it at 11 provisions. Now it's 13 provisions. Because dipshits keep buffing Cleaver's muscle. Hey, King. I don't understand this at all. But here we are. Yeah, this is the second provision nerf Cleaver's gotten for no reason. Cleaver should be 11 provisions and 2 power. And muscle should go back to 5. Like, but this is why I don't get invested in Bounce Council anymore, right? Because it's just asking for frustration. Because people like... I'm trying to think of an analogy to explain how stupid this is. And I can't, because it's that stupid. Blue Dream got nerfed again? Why? This is literally only ever played with Roche. And Roche already got nerfed to 10 provisions, so this doesn't work with Roche. So why are we nerfing this? It makes, like, literally no sense. A card that was just not played. To my knowledge. I'll see why. Oh no. Secret Service going from 6 to 7. That's a good change. We'll see if it sticks. Whisper of Doldothana going from 6 provision to 7 provisions. It's a 7 provision bronze now. Because people really want it to stay at 4 power, so it's going to go to 7 provisions. Alright. Open Sesame, 6 provisions now. Because you can't get it from Shady Vendor either. But like, Sesame isn't a problem. Like, I just don't think it's an OP card for 5P. But this season, because of the Cleaver's muscle buff, everyone was playing Line Pockets with Open Sesame. Nobody's playing Acherontia or Ixora because those cards got nerfed a bunch. And Shady Vendors got nerfed to 6 provisions as well. And then got buffed to 5 power because no one was playing them. It's like, people just have a hate boner for Syndicate because, you know, math and asymmetrical combat. And so they like lose to it and then... What is this music? I need something more chill. I'll just play the Witcher soundtrack. And then they just run into like, and then they just nerf everything in that I don't know. This just seems odd. At least now I know what provision buffs I'll vote for. Yeah, I guess that's true. Maybe I'll leave the game this season. This is kind of silly. Way of the Witcher menu music.
CNews just followed.
You need people like me.
What is Way of the Witcher? Ah. Expansion with the Witcher schools, I see. Yeah, the game is down currently. Update in progress. This is a very stupid change. Seagull from 5 provision to 6 provision. Oh god. Well, there can only be one change per card. I think this is like the anti-Seagull coalition. Like preemptively making it 6 provisions so that... Okay. Verge attack. Temple got buffed from 17. So there's a bunch of people who like playing Temple. And they didn't like that it got nerfed to 17. And then Erland is now 11 provisions. Alright, they want to make Shoop Erland meta again. There's a contingent of people who like love that deck and think it's skillful, even though it's just... It's pretty much a definition of like carryover abuse, gimmicky, oh, you don't have COC, so I have a win con you can't answer. Garbage gameplay, right? But there's a contingent of people who think it's like the height of skill. Or they thought it was fun. Which I'm sympathetic to. Fine. Whatever. But like, I don't think Temple deserves a buff. I also don't think Erland's that good a card. Like that healthy a card. Like Erland, where you with the immunity where you click on it, is kind of the definition of cringe, but whatever. Shinbin the Erland Shoop guy? I would say it was like Gabane was the Erland Shoop guy. Technically, Puzzle was probably the most instrumental in creating that deck. But yeah, I believe Shin loved it and probably played it a bunch. Shinmiri's list was like... No. That was not in Shinmiri's list. I don't think Shin would like vote for a buff to an immune card like this. Temple is buffed into seasonal mode, the one that boosts all cards with provision each turn. You think people voted for from 17 to 16? So that we would have a 16 slot? Or like, we didn't have a 16 slot before, so it was going from 15 to 16, which was like nothing, and like, did it break the game or something? Interesting. But seasonal is like... Okay. Svalbard Totem getting buffed. What? Totem is like probably the most OP card in like Self Bloom. At this point, because everything else got nerfed. Now it's 9 provisions? People want to play it in Golden Necker, I guess. Golden Necker Self-Food was already a thing this season. Because Melusine is 9 provisions. I don't know if you know, King. And Olaf is 9 provisions. Dagger is 9 provisions. Yeah. They just if a 10p card isn't seeing play a lot on ladder, people just vote for it to become 9p so they can play in Golden Necker. What have they done to your Gwent? Yeah. Do you see why I don't play it as much anymore? It's just death by 1,000 paper cuts. Avalok. This is the Avalok that plays Weather. This used to be in every deck like 4 years ago, just as a value card. And now it's there again. Or not there again, but like now that it just kind of got power crept by all the power creep. Why is the Gwent website taking 16 years to load? I wish this would just link to Gwent.1, because that site's more reliable. So it's basically like, you know that artifact, the 5p artifact that plays a Weather? This is the same thing, but it's a unit. Now, in Golden Necker Scoia'tael with Whisperers, this will be a card you'll play because it's a unit that plays a special, and you want your Golden Necker to play as many specials as possible. So maybe it will see play there. I don't mind this buff because this card was literally not seeing any play whatsoever. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw this card played on ladder. So this is a fine buff. Hemdall from 10 to 9. Hemdall was already fine. I saw a few people playing it. But it's like, this card's not that interesting. People think they want, like, it's got cool art. It's one of those cards that people are like, this used to be a viable card in Gwent, and now it's not, so we should buff it. Like, to make this viable, you'd have to undo the last 5 years of Gwent. And you're not gonna. And also, like, what, this card plays for like 17 points at max or more with Ulula, but then plays for like 12 points in most games, probably in shorter rounds. So I don't know if it was that interesting a buff. People don't want to see raid warriors, but they do want to see like warriors with damage. For whatever reason, Ulula abuse is considered cool and awesome, and like Highland Warlord is considered gross. And it can be because like you can lock the Ulula, but they like can res it and they can purify and whatever. Oroko, yes. It's his slot. Oh, interesting. This Hemdall is Oroko's slot? Free Company is an interesting change because this card is kind of not worth 10 provisions. Push his slot to attack the enemy community. I see. I think this is a good change. Also because, does this mean you can play Golden Necker Gascon now? Like all the bonded cards are bronzes, right? One-Eyed Betsy is 8 provisions. Free Company is 9. Gascon is what, 8? There might be a deck there. I think this is fine. It's also like consistency card, right? Because and you could play it in lots of things. Like you could throw this in vampires and use it to play a Plumard from deck. You're probably not gonna. Relics might play it, maybe, or Deathwish with Harpies. Harpies aren't very good at the moment, but it's like it makes me want to see if there's decks I can build, right? Like that's a good kind of change. Well, you can play this and Mushy Truffle. Oh, you mean for Golden Necker? Yeah, true. Mushy Truffle is very good in bonded decks, but so Roche is back to 9 provisions because the people who like playing Blue Dream Cheese, they pushed both changes through. They figured NR was gonna get, like, Spellweavers were gonna get nerfed because they should never have been buffed, and so the alumni enjoyers snuck this one in. Wait, this is your slot? Vernon Roche or Free Company? You did this? Oh, bro. This was not a good change. Ben? Erlen was yours too? Oh, wow. Sheldon is now 7 provisions. I mean, this card already plays for a ton of points. It's like Torque. It doubles all the boosts on it. The problem is Handwolf is a garbage-ass archetype. But I think like this was Pajable. He's like, that's an archetype I never see in my games. Or isn't very strong, so let's buff it. And this was a way to buff it. Okay. Fine. It's been an honor. Yeah. Moshcraft band Leon's her name. Leon R.S. name. Brian buff. So this got buffed already once. To like 6 provisions from 7. And nobody played it. And now it's getting buffed to 5 provisions. So now it's an 8 for 5, 3 of which is damage. Okay. Dwarven Skirmisher should also be 5 provisions. Because 3 extra damage on demand is that strong. Hey, Vishkeg. Yeah, Lario plays a lot of like decks that just seem so terrible to me. Not terrible. Whenever I try them, they feel terrible. But he makes them work somehow. And then we have a Sly Seductress to 4 provisions. Giving a passive Flora type deck 2 extra provisions. Because like, it's not like I wasn't gonna play a Seductress and now that it's 1 less provision, I'm gonna. You either were playing a Seductress deck or you weren't. And a Seductress deck is like, hey, am I against somebody that can answer like 3 or 4 bronzes? Keep me from getting bonded value? Great, I lose. No, I win. Especially if they're a deck that plays multiple cards. Things like Assimilate or like, I don't know, Scarletell or whatever. Right? Like it's a punish for you playing cards and not having muzzle and other answers. That's just information before P2. Max Capane. That's an appropriate name for that comment. Brian, I think we'll see play in control decks. In like Shiro decks and... Well, no, because Shiro has initiative, right? No, Shiro doesn't have initiative. Yeah. Why wouldn't you play Bran in a Shiro deck? You absolutely would. Cool RC, this patch is about to have a stroke. This patch was not good for Syndicate, no. We have a tier list. We'll do a tier list after this. I don't like the Sly Seductress change. Just because I feel like scenario decks are cheesy. Because usually people will play like Madame or double scenario. And a lot of it is like, oh, did you draw the right cards at the right time? No. Like, do you have a heat wave and answers to a bunch of bronze engines? No, then you lose. It's very polarized. Can pop up and plunder? Oh, that's so gross. Why? Oh, plunder was already... Oh. Plunder was already kind of sad with both Oxenford's guard and brawler gone. Now we got like this shit. And then for decks that do play Seductress, they'll play Plunder so they can play even more Seductresses. This is a terrible change. There's so many bullshit. This Ultimate change, this is a Paja change, I believe. And Ultimate was literally not getting played. Now at 7 power, it's more likely to live. It doesn't lose to a sphere and it doesn't get enslaved 6 yoinked as easily. So this is a good change. At 11 provisions, I don't know if I would play it in any monster decks. But like, Nilfgaard can play it. Whenever your opponent plays the card, damage self by 1. So this is, you play this, you infuse your opponent's units, and then every time you play a card, any card, those specials also count. So if you play a Rune Mage, that's everything that's infused takes damage twice. Right? If you play like Nilfgaard and you play a Brothans that, or a Vigo into an Informant into another card from them that then like if you copy a Shady Vendor with an Informant that you spawn, like, it just gets out of hand. It can easily snowball. It'd be kind of crazy. Yeah, like if you stream and you play interesting decks, your shit will get nerfed. That's why Miamon doesn't make new decks anymore. And I Love Bears is playing Shadowverse. Like, that's why I don't play. Not because my decks were getting, well, yeah, a lot of my decks were getting nerfed actually. And never because they were like competitive at high MMR, but because people would be nerfing some other shit. Like my movement deck, my Gold Decker movement deck, probably got like 12 or 13 provision nerfs from the Balance Council. Okay. Like, literally killed the deck. Devotion Shear get nerfed in the next 3 months? That's how you'll know you made it. I mean, people want to nerf Shiro already. Detlef Higher Vampire is +1 power. I don't need to do this. I can just click it. The roach change got reverted. So this is the Death Wish Detlef. So they buffed Ruin, and so people were like, "Why are we playing Detlef when Ruin is like 5 power and this is just 6?" But Ruin you can eat over and over again, and Ruin is 2 consumes every time. Like you consume it, it gives you another consume. This didn't do any of that. So now this got buffed. Okay, like Brain Dead Death Wish Point Slam gets another buff. Fine, whatever. I mean, I'd rather they buff the other Detlef to 8 power. Or Unseen Elder to 8 power, but the Death Wish Vampire gets buffed. This is one of those buffs that's like a 1 power buff is actually like a 3-point buff to the card, more if you play AQ, right? This used to be 18 points, now it's 21 points. And if you play AQ, like, the other one is also an extra point each time, right? So this just makes AQ Detlef like auto, like, it's like I'm a person with no influence, or I'm someone who, for whatever reason, I'm desperate to see my mark on the world. I want to pee on this white linen so I can see my influence on the world, or I want to carve with an X-Acto knife into a drywall at somebody else's house. Like, I just really want to see myself on TV, and so that's who votes for this stuff like this. Ruin got reverted? Wait, really? Oh my god, Ruin got reverted. Of course it did. Sedge. I don't think it was OP at 5. This was got nerfed to 3 power, and then some people, I guess, reverted the change. People just really like Roach. People like tempo abuse. Reynard Odo. This is, I think, another Paja buff. This card was just terrible before. It's slightly less terrible now. So fine. Vivian getting a power buff? Wait, what was a... Reordained was a Lirio Shin change? It made no fucking sense to me. I didn't understand it at all. Like, yeah, it's a strong card. Yeah, it's auto-include. But, like, CDPR made that entire archetype. It was like it was the month of, hey, we want to give devotion consistency, but it has to be thematic and each one has to be completely different and weird. And this was like, oh, if you have a trap on the board that plays and an elf, if you can play a trap and an elf. But it's not like that deck was too, I don't know. Maybe it's like a precursor to some other buffs they want to do. So Vivian buff. City units power equals provision cost. You play this with Renfrey now. Right? Or like in any deck where you have low power, high provision cards, you can play it. I used to play it in Toussaint as like another tall punish. I don't know. Sun Provision, RSS, and Whisper is so trash. I think Redanian Secret Service is too strong at 6 provisions. I agree with that change. Whisper, I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe it gets to push the mid-range card. Yeah. It's like some cards are so niche and situational that, like, just because you don't see them played doesn't mean that's the thing you gotta address. Like, some cards are just situational. Gwent's a 25 card game, and on ladder you don't get to pick what your opponent is playing, so you have no control over it. Which means certain cards like Time or I don't know, Morkvarg the Pirate, or there's a bunch of cards that like people only play if they're if you get them from a create, like a compass, right? Because like 6 out of 10 games they're not good, and 4 out of 10 games they're really, really good, but that's not a good card to have in a Gwent deck you play on ladder. That's just the reality of like matchmaking. And a 1v1 where it's a blind deck list and blind opponent leader. Like, you have no control over any of it. So that's just like a core design issue with the game. And if you keep buffing cards like that, they just become... They still are really much stronger in certain situations. But then they don't have... Like... These are cards that punish you for playing a card that plays into them. For having a card in your deck that plays into them. And that's never fun. That's not a fun experience. Vivian's the metallic dandy change? Of course. Hey, Underwow. I got the link. If it's known the most popular leader is on ladder? No, we don't have any stats like that. All the stats that are available are on gwentdata.com, and this site basically compiles everything based on parsing like player profile pages. And there's no information about which leader was used. This is the stats for last season. Obviously, Syndicate was too strong because of the Cleaver's muscle change. But it still wasn't like it was still the least common in people's top 4 factions. Squirtle was the most common. If you change it to top 100, it might change. In the top 100, Nilfgaard was actually the most common in people's top 4 factions, followed by Syndicate and Squirtle. And then Monsters was actually dead last. Win rate by faction mirror correction for top 100. Win rate was highest for Syndicate, followed by Squirtle, followed by Skellige, NR, and then NG and MO were lower. But play rate was still, NG was still the highest in top 100. Again, keep in mind, this is 63%, this is 62.7%. Like, there's a 1% difference here. And even here, it's a 2% difference or 2.5% difference between the lowest win rate and the highest win rate in the top 100. Because this graph does not start at 0 for reasons beyond my understanding. So when you look at these graphs, like this isn't so much bigger. Like this is 15, this is 15 and a half, this is 17 and a half, this is 18. So like, yes, a lot less people have monsters in their top 4 compared to Nilfgaard and Scoia'tael and Syndicate. But like, it's not triple the number of people having a Sk as an R, right? It's only 1% more. I saw only NR and Syndicate in my games. Link to this site, this is gwentdata.com. So Swears, I believe this is another Paja change. Swears has seen like literally no play. He's a soldier and he's a gold, so this is a good buff. But soldier golds get like almost no play, and like this is basically an amnesty with a 5 body that doesn't boost the card. So you're playing 2 extra provisions. It's not a tactic, but you're playing 2 extra provisions, and in exchange you get 3 more points and a soldier tag. I think this is fine. It's also a counter to Madoc, right? Nausicaa Sergeant got a power buff. I basically skipped the seasons where Sergeant is at 4 power. Not because of Sergeants, but it seems like the ebb and flow of like the yin and yang of the Balance Council is like garbage, okay. Garbage, okay. Oof. Oops. And before Madoc 4 power, yeah. Self-Eater. This is a change I advocated, actually. To make Self-Eater 6 provisions, so that we can then make them 6 power. So, I don't know which community did this, but I love you. Maybe that idea actually, like, propagated. Or maybe they separately had the same idea that I did. Right? Either way, interesting. Was the verdict good, bad, awful? We'll do the verdict at the end, because I haven't read through all the changes yet. So Self-Eater is now 6 provisions. Makes it harder to Incubus, but I think that's okay. It's a very strong card once it goes to 6 power like it's supposed to. 6 power is ridiculous. Oh, this is a power increase. It's still 5 provisions. Oh! I don't know why I was hoping they did it correctly. Because I was saying make it 6 provisions first, and then make it 6 power. They just went and made it 6 power. 6 power Self-Eater is not ridiculous. No. Self-Eater was literally only ever sticking if you played with the Veil Leader and boosted it. But I think it shouldn't be 5 provisions. I think 5 provisions is too... Oh my god, he actually linked us. Like, bro, nobody actually wants to see our match history. You were hoping for the reasonable thing? Yeah, in the Balance Council. I don't know what I was thinking. I can't. Sam asked it? No, he said those words. He wasn't literally like... Yeah, I think that sense of sarcasm it needs work. Birch buffs? Buggy, did you not see? Seagull is now 6 provisions. That means it's gonna get a power buff next month. For sure. I clearly said link your debit card info, yes. I was here, he said it. I can vouch. King Cobra, which is the neutral poison card, got a power buff from 2 to 3. So this was a card that was really only played in a Flaminica rain deck as a discard target. just for more Flaminica value. And because it's a unique beast. And it's one of those cards, just like Madoc, where the central thing depicted in the card isn't the card. Like King Cobra, it's not this dude, it's this snake over here, down in the bottom. That's the King Cobra. This guy is just there, in the middle of the art, for no reason. Not for no reason, but like, this is the star. This guy is like the supporting act. This is a revert? It used to be 3? When did it get nerfed and why? Like a long time ago, CDPR nerfed it? Maybe this guy have something called Kingra. Oh, come on, Andrew. Someone really want? No. I don't think this was ever nerfed by the Balance Council. Hold on, let's look it up. So if you ever want to know the history of a card, there's a site called Gwent.1. And it has all the Gwent cards, all the voice lines. Amazing website. No ads even. I don't know. Some legends run it. I love them. But what you do is you just go into the card database, you search for a card, and then you can see the game versions. So it used to be 3 power, 1 armor, 4 provisions. And then in the very next patch, so this is, I think this is like Merchants of Ophir is when it was released. This is also around when I started playing the game, by the way. Like I saw something like on a CD Projekt Red Twitch stream, they showed a Gwent tournament. I was like, wait, they made a Gwent game? That's funny. And I was like, oh, it's an esport. That's cool. I started watching it. But it was like the poison meta that I came into. It was like Masquerade Ball every game and Maral in every deck. Like both Nilfgaard and Scoia'tael and Syndicate, they were all playing poisons. You started then as well? Yeah. Cancer era? Yeah, it was pretty cancer. And I played monsters. It was also the Falibor Philippa meta. So like my poor larva just kept like I was a wholesome like Thrive player. Harmony was a cool deck. I don't know if it was cool. Cause it was like Mystic Echo Waters of Brokilon, right? Could proc ball one turn Roderick into Joachim or something? Yeah. They did, yeah. Thrive player for 8 years, yep. Kind of true, uninspired. Kind of true. I just like the boosty boost. Double ball, yep. Cause scenarios, like, oh, you could Yenvo the enemy player's scenario. Yenvo used to also work on scenarios. Yeah. Caretaker would replay an artifact, and you could renew Caretaker, so people would play Siege, and then Caretaker Siege, and then renew on Caretaker to replay Siege. They were playing Siege every round. And then there was a 5 provision card, Bomb Heaver, that killed Destroy the Scenario. Watch your head! Show the old Caretaker. Alright. Had the same art. In 2.0, play an artifact from your graveyard. So this is before scenarios existed in the game. Okay? This is before. So this was a 14 provision, 2 power card before scenarios existed. Sorry, the 1.0 version was 12 provisions, 3 power. And I'm guessing because of like unitless artifact spam, they changed it, made it more expensive. Nerfed it, but then like in 5.2, so like 2 patches after Merchants of Ophir, they changed it from playing a Artifact in Graveyard to the Purify thing that nobody played. And nobody plays it. What artifacts did you play without scenarios? I don't know, Mastercrafted Sphere? Just like people used to play Unilist. There was no minimum unit required, right? Like I used to remember like there would be like, because Mastercrafted Spear was every turn you got a charge and you would do 1 damage. You just play Spear and you play like 2 Spears and you play Thunderbolt and other things. Sihil and like there was just a lot of the game was just cancer. Like because it turns out like in a game where your opponent can interact with your cards, if you can deny them the ability to fuck with you, then that's strong. And so everybody went with decks that couldn't be messed with and also like invalidate all their opponent's control. And you could have like 20 artifacts in 2 units. Like there was no restrictions. You wouldn't have 20 artifacts, but you could just play a bunch of specials and artifacts and like 3 or 4 units and that's it. What is the point of getting cards getting to 3-4 every season and reverting? It's 2 different groups. There's the groups that think there's enough people, because like it only takes 10% of the population to make a vote go through. It takes another 10% to undo that change. And so even if only 20% of the community want to ping pong a card, it will ping pong the card. Oldcadaavver? What did I do? Zeal. Destroy self and all units whose power equal Cadaavver's charge count. Charge 0. Every turn on turn start and whenever you play a tactic, gain 1 charge. So it was like a Shiru artifact. Back when Shiru used to destroy itself. Hard to make work. Rent-free from 2 to 1 power. I never asked Paja why he put this in his council. But I don't personally agree with it. I think... Like, what? What? Whatever. This card was like 5 power, 13 provisions, and I thought it was fine. And now it's like 1 power, 14 provisions. Doesn't change anything? I think it, I mean, points matter. To be fair, the game's more balanced now than it was with CDPR. If you consider like the garbage changes they did the last 2 years they were in charge, maybe. But before the last two years of their idiotic card drops and reworks, I think I would rather play that game than this game. Now you can run Vivian again? Vivian with her? Yeah, I mean, they could always play Vivian with her, though. Oh, no, Vivian, not... Okay, I was thinking of Vivian Oriole. You mean this Vivian. Yeah. It's also like boost the lowest power card to 10. It's a buff for that ability. I guess. Reordain, you could argue as a card, plays for a lot of points because it thins 2, plays a trap and a unit. But it has a lot of conditions. And I don't think this is a Haunt nerf, because Haunt is like unplayable. Isn't it? I don't know. It's just like they thought the card was too powerful. Maybe they want to make it. I don't know. You'd have to ask them why they made this change. I skipped Cursed Knight. You're right. You're right. Cursed Knight got 1 power. I'm not sure why. A lot of decks already played Cursed Knight. It's a good card. Like, why does this need to play for more Point Slam in addition to its effect? It's a free bronze. It's a buff to Ada. I don't count the Ada points as part of this card in terms of balancing. I think that's a benefit of it being cursed, and if Ada is OP, then you nerf Ada. But just 7 for 4 is already kind of busted. Like, most 7 for 4s have some sort of downside or condition. This has no downside or condition, and it has a perk. You can transform, like, a card you don't want food. You can transform a card that's poison. You can transform a gold into a bronze so you can replay with necromancy. Or, you know, like... I don't... Like, this isn't... Like, this was already a very good card and was played in all the decks where it made sense. At 6 power. This is unnecessary buff. It keeps the power the same. It's used to... Like, you use it with the 17 power Regis, and now you have a 17-point bronze in your graveyard. You can, like, transform a card you don't want food. Yeah, sure. Or a Kanto or something. Just 7 for 4? It's 7 for 4 and a perk. Like... Kikimore Worker is a 7 for 4 with an exposed. Necker Warrior is 7 for 4 only if you have a Thrive on the board. Right? NL Guardian will be 7 for 4 if you have Devotion. Turtis again has a downside, which is like if it loses armor, it played for 6. I know Conquer is 8 for 4. That was also a dumb change that happened last season. Cleaver's Muscle. Undeserved nerf for a card that wasn't played. Cleaver's Muscle. You can't. You have to be stupid to consider Cleaver's Muscle as a card that people would want to play from hand. Cleaver's Muscle is just a thing that's in Novi Justice and Cleaver, and you balance it accordingly. Like, it would be idiotic to... It would be like if we buffed drones because... Man, nobody is playing Natural Selection or something. Except we can't, because they're tokens. No one ever picked Muscle from the deck builder? Yeah, that's true. We can't buff drones much. Yeah, or the Tattering players would. Yeah, last patch when it was 7 power, people were playing Muscle because it was 7 and had a shield. Like, and that's not a reason to buff Cursed Knight. That's a reason to nerf Muscle. Can play Muscle with Saskia. Not good though. Why would you play with Saskia? Oh, like in the deck it gets pulled. Yeah. Anyways, talk about Ivar. So Ivar was busted for a while, and it got nerfed to 5 power by CDPR. Because this was like when Toussaint had come out, and all of the Toussaint cards were OP. This is one of those like, haha, a power change is like doubly impactful. Look at my impact. Mom, look, Ma, I'm having an impact. So people think they're clever by making this change. At this point, I'm not even mad at them. This is the system CDPR designed. Wait, was there really a time when Ivar didn't have adrenaline? Most decks can't play around? Yeah, like, oftentimes, like, just by virtue of being your deck, you're gonna give it value. It's not like you can switch decks in the middle of a game and be like, oh, actually, since I'm against Toussaint, I don't want to play Knights or whatever, right? Things that go tall early. In practice, Ivar is a card that like you can use to win round 1 if you drew it. Or you're really sad because you got it in a short round and he's not that good. Used to not have adrenaline and Spiro was molding on stream. Ivar playing for 50 points last play. So it was like Ornate Sensor, but like instead of switching with a 1 power unit, it was switching with himself on deploy. Yeah, that does seem kind of annoying. Cleaver nerf is so undeserved. Again, Cleaver should be 11 provisions, 2 power, and Cleaver's muscles should be 5 power. That's how I feel about that. Spiro hated, I remember, Spiro really hated Sensor. Spiro should have got nerfed last season, and now I get another 2 provision nerf. Sensor meta was peak Spiro. Yeah, ironically, like the most abusive decks that played Sensor were Precision Strike and like Dwarven Skirmisher. It was Sentinels and Skirmishers. And Skirmishers are still just as busted as they've ever been, and nobody touches them. Araka Swarm wasn't as good. Like, I played Araka Swarm Sensor because I could. And, like, Sensor kind of made the deck viable. But it wasn't the competitive deck. It wasn't the deck people were playing in tournaments. Everyone was playing Precision Strike. With Dwarven Skirmishers. I hear Ornate Sensor. And then they reworked Sensor to be just dumb. So this change is like not a good change, but I don't really care that much because like this depends on the archetype, and the archetype has weaknesses. Like it has to win round 1, and right now it can't. So whatever. Somebody will like run into a bad matchup against it, and it will be annoying for them. Or it says a provision buff win for oral times. But they reworked it. It's just garbage now. But honestly, 9 provision Ornate Sensor at least isn't worse than Heatwave in every single situation you would want to play it for damage. So maybe it should be. It would be like, it's like a conditional, you know, 9 or 8 provisions makes more sense for it. Olaf power nerf. So this went to 11 power for some reason, and now it's back to 10. I think this is a good change because before Olaf was playing for 21 points, and now he'll play for 18 points, right? Or 19 points? Max. Alzur nerf makes no sense. Like, I know this is supposed to be a Spellotel nerf, but like, Alzur was not an important part of that deck. It was the Whisperers. And since Whisperers also got nerfed, this nerf doesn't make a lot of sense. Alzur's a card that you kind of have to build your deck around. And for him to like... I don't know. I would have loved the idea of Alzur as being a card you play and then next turn you play a special. Like, making it more removable just means that you only get to play this for value if you like Decree into it or something. Which makes the card less usable. Not in the Spellweaver deck too? Why would you play it in a Spellweaver deck over Iteran? Like, Iteran in a Spellweaver deck, like you play a Spellweaver with Chapter on the board. Next time you drop an Iteran and then you click Chapter, and you instantly have value. Metallic Dandy's nerf, yeah. That's all we need to say about that. So who nerfed Ruin? It's a plug nerf? As in like placeholder nerf? Seems like a bad placeholder nerf. Is Paja nerf? Oh, Ruin? Ruin is Paja? Or Lyria? Okay, let me check. It was Shin and Lirio. I don't understand why. I guess because like Death Wish was too strong or too many points. They had good results with it. I thought it was fun. Oh my god, is one of their stupid ass 5-ahead? I fucking hate it when they do that. Like, the most disappointing thing about the Balance Council has been Shiniri and Lirio, two people I greatly respect, deciding to just behave. I can't find. These other guys are gonna do something really stupid, so I'll do something half as stupid to count. Like, no, you're both stupid. You're just doing like you're contributing to the problem. Just revert it next month. It's both defeatist and reactionary. Riptide got a power decrease. I saw that coming. It's whatever at this point. It was very strong. I agree it was very strong full tilt, but it wasn't like competitive. And so that made it a fun card, and it was still unexplored potential. And because of one dumb change from a bunch of dumb people who like made that last 7 power, we lose a fun card. Ruin wasn't OP at all. But it was a decent amount of points. And then they were concerned that this is like, instead of like addressing card balance, they're like, oh, Death Wish will be too good. So we don't want the meta that affects like 12 people to be like unbalanced. So we gotta preemptively nerf this archetype that we foresee in our calculations might be too strong at the 2500 to 2600 meta. Like, fuck off. Like, just fuck off. A, that doesn't affect that many people. B, stop, like you're balancing to a, like, you think you've simulated a meta for the next month, not knowing all the changes, and you think you can predict it. You think you're smart enough that you know how all these changes will intersect and combine with the player base and the content creators to then, like, what is like just doing like giga math there in your head. And then based on all this math, you have identified the pre-crime that must be pre-prevented by making another dumb change that isn't as dumb as this other dumb change but you're hoping that the 2 dumb changes will have a baby that will be less dumb. Like, or just make good changes, man, and then like revert the bad changes, and then just that's it. Yeah, Danny's community's done a lot of bad. Whatever. Diabear got reverted. This is a good revert, but who did it? Olaf was also the Shin Lirio group. I mean, I just don't think cards should be reverted unless they're causing problems. And like, where's their Cleaver muscle power nerf? They just, oh, because Paja did it? They were like fine with it. Metallic Danny nerf Riptide. By the way, these guys collude. There's like a Discord where they have conversations and they decide together. Like they're like, hey, I'll support you if you do this, and like there's like a, they invited each other to a Discord where they like share their plans. This is like long after I stopped issuing recommendations or caring, but like it's kind of a weird thing to do in my opinion. Hearing that Discord has made me jealous. No, because before there was a Discord, before there was a Shin Lirio Alliance, Shin asked me if I wanted to like collab. Back when he was like freaking out because like none of his recommendations were going through. He was like, because there's just not that many like non-Russian, like the Russian and Chinese blocks were just so much bigger. And he's like, and like we had a chat and I was like, well, I just disagree with like 60% of what you want to do, and I disagree with them strongly. And he disagreed with some of what I wanted to do, and my principles being that like I think you should balance cards, and he wants to balance the meta, and so I just never pursued it. Like that is, of course, the Illuminati of the Balance Council. The Pepe Garati, more like. We all laugh at Mosh. I doubt I'm that significant. The trade routes and tariffs and stuff, yeah. Colluding like the BlackRock. Yeah, next they're gonna buy all real estates to further push up the housing prices. Be the change you wish to see in the world? Nah, I'd rather just not be like disappointed and irritated by people. So I just choose to not care. Because like fundamentally the issue I have is that their motivation isn't a healthier, more fun long-term Gwent. It's to make Gwent the game that they want to play, and only like that seems to be the only lens they view it through. There's a lot of cards I hate playing against. Have you ever seen me suggest a mill nerf? No. But it is what it is. Ultimately, though, the fault is with CDPR for putting together such a terrible system. One housing crisis incoming. So you want someone to skip this month? Yeah. This is a good change because it was a very bad change that got reverted. Did Cleaver's muscle get reverted? It did. Okay. But now, both Sesame and Cleaver have been nerfed by a provision. So my deck lost 3 provisions because of this Cleaver's muscle. That's another thing. It's really not fun for people who don't play like seriously or all the time, you come and try to play Gwent, and then like half their decks are just have a big X on them. And then you go look at the deck, and it's not hard. It's not hard to like adjust 1 or 2 provisions, right? But it just kind of saps the fun. Like, it's like you go to play a game, and it's like, oh, first you gotta do this. And you go do it, and you're like, oh, so now I'm just playing the thing I did before, but it's worse. I'm just playing a worse version of the thing that I played before, and it's just not fun, right? Yeah, no Sesames from Shady Vendor. It is like a double nerf. Like, we nerfed Shady Vendor specifically so Sesame could stay at 5. Like, Shady Vendor used to be 5. We made it 6 provision specifically to avoid this problem, because we had tried Sesame at 6 provisions and it was not good, and so we went back. And now we're redoing the same. And it's because a lot of the people who do the who don't have the history or don't remember. So I'm gonna try and do this quickly. It's a bad change. Good. Neutral. Great. Not good. And then bad. With SK, it's not worth to imagine if they nerf Line Pockets too. Did they nerf a Skellige leader? Or you mean with Syndicate? This is a bad change, but it's not super impactful. It should be reverted though. In Syndicate, yeah. The thing is, like, leaders just don't get nerfed, because a leader nerf takes a buff slot from a card that would get a provision buff. King Cobra is like, just wasn't seeing any play, so I think this is fine. Whatever, man. I don't think this was a good change. I think this is a change that should be reverted. I'm whatever about this card. Dire Bear power nerf? Did I miss that? Oh, I thought it was Raging Bear, but it's Dire Bear that got a power nerf? Why? Like, that's a nerf. They think this is good. They think this is a buff. That's a nerf to this card. It has Berserk, but like, this is just people being like, oh, a Berserk card. I can do a power minus that's actually a buff. It's not. Because the decks that would ever play this card, like, you need to nerf this, you need to buff it by provision if you want to improve this card. Make it cheaper. Because the decks that would play this would be decks that don't have cards that boost. Like Warriors or Pirates or whatever would want to play a card like this. Right? So that they're like, if they're running into Harmony or Scenario Knights or something, they can like just prevent a whole row and require an answer from decks that you don't usually, or like Militily or something, right? This is a card that's good against those decks. And in those situations, you're fine with the extra point because it doesn't negatively affect you. And if you do play a deck where this card is like you want to proc the Berserk, you probably have, like, you could play with Melusine or like Artists and stuff, you know, like. the best changes are the reverts in this patch. I think this is a bad change. This is a good change because that card saw no play. I don't care about this. This is a good change. This is actually a great change. I don't think this is a good change. I think it's going to cause problems. I'm not even going to put this. Like, I have literally no opinion. Cleaver is a bad change. Very bad change. Blue Dream is, I think, fine. I actually don't care if this gets buffed. This is from your opponent's graveyard. Nobody was playing it. But the Roche change is, like... Yeah. I think this is a good change. Secret Service. Seagull, I don't have an opinion about. I think this is a bad change. Actually, I don't know how I feel about this. Maybe it's a good change. But, like, you gotta give... There's nothing else for Scoia'tael in this patch. Right, Scoia'tael's getting nothing. Because I don't think King Cobra counts as a Scoia'tael buff. You're kind of sad if you want to play Scoia'tael deck. You got nothing this match. I don't hate I Love Bears. Totem got a buff. I mean, go talk to Shiniri and Lirio. That's who voted for this, right? Provision increase. No, it was Paja. Go talk to Paja. I'm not like Brian OP. Sam, can you make this? Can you update the review command? Okay. This is my ranking of the changes. When theory crafting. Theory crafting is I gotta find 3 provisions in my cleaver deck. I don't get to play Ruin anymore. And then you can play relics. You can play Golden Necker relics. And then get countered by all the control that people will play to deal with you. Maybe there's a free company self-eater deck with like the bonded units. That might be kind of cute. Because this is an order. Shackle's still 4P, yeah. Shackle should have been reverted. But it didn't get reverted. Morvid nerf is kind of sad for relics, though. It didn't... Like, I assume Paja voted on... Or put on the subreddit why he was making the changes he was proposing. I want to know what the Morvid logic is. There would be C2s. There it is. Nerf mostly aimed at towards lower ranked players. While Morvid is not played in most of the top monsters meta decks, it's extremely popular in lists played on lower MMR and rank ladder. Its effect is also... You don't need an apostrophe there. Its effect is also not that interesting, acting as a strong finisher without any major conditions. Okay. He wanted Eternal Fire Priest, that didn't go through. Sheldon, Handbuff hasn't seen much play recently. Sheldon wasn't even played in some version of Handbuff decks.
_love_ just followed.
Fushi Love, thank you for the follow. Welcome back. Good to see you. This buff aims to see Handbuff slightly stronger and incentivize players to experiment more with classic Handbuff rather than mid-range rent-free invigorate lists. Okay. Avalok. Oh, Avalok was Faja. Pretty versatile card. It can be used as a mid-range pick for control decks or to help with removing engines by spawning fog. Furthermore, Avalok could also be played in Spellatel's Necker lists. Yep, that's what I said. Or even Symbiosis lists as an additional special nature proc. Oh yeah, because those cards are not nature. Apparently too expensive to consider. After the buff, he could see play in... Okay. Whisper. He said a fairly controversial pick, however, one that I believe is necessary. Whisper is a very strong engine, carrying various decks of Spelltel Necker, Alzur decks with Mushy Truffle. Combined with Orbs of Insight, the Whisper chain is not that hard to set up, often resulting in a quick outburst of points. The problem really is the Guerrilla Tactics leader. Because at 4 power, you just answer it. It's when it goes to 7 that it's a problem. Right? That's the... Or like either with Ale or with Leader. Like that's the problem with Whisper. Whisper by itself isn't that big a deal. It's especially in Spelltel Necker, as that deck can overload opponent with the amount of engines it puts on the board. Even one Whisperer sticking can completely carry the game with Golden Necker, often making it play for a ceiling value of 36 points, even more if you have board space to move the Whisperer to the other row. And I don't think I think a Provision nerf doesn't really kill the card. It kills it in like... It doesn't kill it in the Golden Necker version, but it might... Because the Golden Necker version, I feel like, had extra provisions to spare. If you're playing Rock Slide and Johnny and Sarah, you got provisions to spare easily. But maybe like the I Love Bears deck won't work anymore because that deck is probably tighter. Play one game? No, Pasha played the Whisperer deck a lot. I saw him play like Sonelian made the deck, I believe, and like for the last few seasons. Why is Eglaeus 9 provisions and Skag 7? Because Eglaeus is like for Sheldon to get value, it has to have a target. Whereas Eglaeus gets the value regardless. Sheldon also like can only be buffed when in hand, right? Whereas Eglaeus, you can put it on the board and then buff it with like your leader or with like Thunderbolt or Mahakam Pass or you know whatever. Whereas Sheldon, you can only boost it in your hand, right? Eglaeus can also be played with like Sienna. I guess Sheldon can technically be played with Sienna as well. But like Eglaeus just has a like more ways to receive boosts, and its points are less conditional, which means opponent has less counterplay. The counterplay to Eglaeus is have last say and a tall punish, but Sheldon has a lot more counterplay technically. I see deck lost 5 provision in yeah, that's what happens to Scoia'tael decks that are interesting. They just get nerfed. Sometimes, like, because of other decks. That's why you never see me play Scoia'tael anymore. 3 of them just playing either Decree Whisper or Necromancy Whisper and playing for 30 points is a problem. Yes, I agree. I mean, I agree, I love pairs. But, like, my solution to all of that was keep Whisper at 3 power. So that it wouldn't play for... Like, when you clog your whole row with a card, if it's 27 points for that whole row, that's not great. Well, when it's 36 points for the row, that's a lot better. A Red Bears deck? A monster? He tried, man. That laugh is 7 power now. Yeah, but Ruin got nerfed. That laugh is literally just Brain Dead Death Wish with AQ. Yeah, he's done with monsters. That's... I mean, I don't blame him. Renfree, despite many nerfs, Renfree is still very popular on ladder with Blaze of Glory variant remaining as one of the strongest sticks. Because Blaze of Glory kept getting buffs. Therefore, I believe there's another nerf. Like, I don't... What's wrong with a... Like, we don't say this about Shoop. Or, like, Royal Decree. Like, what's wrong with a neutral card that is seeing play in, like, one archetype of one faction? Just let it be, man. It... Like... If one... There's only one deck that is, like, too strong, you don't nerf the neutral card in that deck. Like, you just... You nerf that deck. That deck is strong because we keep buffing discard cards, and because... And also, I don't even think it was that strong. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. Who's Manifest? So this is Paja's. Paja's changes. I wanted to know why he recommended, like, Morvid nerf. That's why I pulled it up. I'm sad because I think the Thunderbolt nerf buff was actually a cool buff. It didn't go through. And I thought Eternal Fire Priest was also an interesting buff that didn't go through. I like the Ultimate, the Swears. I like Cleaver's Muscle. I like Spellweavers. I like the Avalok buff. And I like Thunderbolt buff. Because Thunderbolt is literally just unplayable. Let's see what the comments are saying. Am I playing engines against that cancer? Which cancer? NG. Yeah, Spellweaver's like buff was idiotic. The thing is, you're gonna see a lot more Spellweaver spam decks because Vernon Roche is now 9 provisions again. And Blue Dream got... Blue Dream got a 1 provision nerf. But that doesn't justify the Roche buff.
Fuck you, need of garbage.
Where is it? Vernon Roche. So because you can play Roche, kill it, and then Blue Dream the same Roche back out. Because Roche, and so they can play multiple engines in one turn. A few nil garbage, yeah. And just King Crumb nerf is really dumb, actually. But it's fine. Like it's I put it in the not good category. This is my review of the changes. It's how I feel. Destroy Eternal Firestorm Priest buff next month, guys. We need Firestorm in the meta. It punishes greedy stuff. Does it? Like, this Cleaver nerf is so dumb. Again, at least mid-range, not greedy, yeah. Sometimes Ogres didn't play Crumb for Resilience. Yeah, because it's hard to have consistency in your deck when you have to play X number of Ogres. Look, I'm not a fan of, like, number of tags in your deck design. I haven't been. I've said so since the beginning. But I just don't think this card deserved a nerf. And I don't even know where it came from. It's like a casual. It's Metallic Danny and Shin Lirio's 4th pick. So Metallic Danny and Shin Lirio are collaborating now? And there's a Laura Doran power decrease? The hell? Bro. And then they want an Iron Falcon infantry power buff. Ay. I guess you live long enough to become the clown that you made fun of. Something. From nerf paves way for other buffs? What buffs? Why does Ogreroids need buffs? So not every deck has to be hyper competitive. Some decks can just be like, I just want to chill and play some Unga Bunga Ogres. I want to play a deck that like doesn't care about control and just has enough points to like bleed greedy stuff. And I don't want to think too hard because I'm ogre. That should be allowed. Like that's good game design. You have to think about what people sit down to play a game of Gwent. Sometimes they want to play like Spellweavers, and sometimes they want to play like unitless clown shit, and sometimes they just want to play a point slam deck that they don't have to be at the mercy of their opponents for. Ogre Warrior? Why? That card's a good card. Cards that see play shouldn't get buffed. Like maybe Neckers. You can buff Neckers because they're so easy to kill and they're a Thrive card, so they're interesting in terms of sequencing. They provide counterplay to your opponent. Yada yada yada. Like that's an interesting buff. Ogre Warrior is just a point slam card. How's Self-Eater good? Because I predict it will go to 6 provisions. And literally nobody plays Self-Weaver right now. Self-Weaver used to be 6 power. And then CDPR made 2 nerfs. Because the reason Self-Eaters were OP when they released was because Mamuna and Gurney, you could play them with Caranthier. So people would Caranthier Mamuna and then play a Mamuna. And so like, relics were just busted when they first came out. And then Self-Eaters got 2 nerfs. In addition to Caranthier being reworked, and Mamuna being provision nerfed, and Gurney's Mr. Gurney getting provision nerfed. In addition to those changes, Self-Eaters got 2 nerfs. One was a power nerf, and the other was when you split them, they would now round down. It used to be if you had a 5-power Self-Eater, you could split and you could get a 3-power Self-Eater from it. Now, if you split a 5-power Self-Eater, you get a 2-power Self-Eater. Self-Eater is not a problematic card because it gets value from splitting, but when it splits, it puts itself in removal range. The only way in recent times Self-Eaters have been played is with the Carapace Leader, because that's the only way they get value. Like you have to, because at 5 power, they're just like they trade down to Owl's Thunder and Rebuke and a million other things on deploy. And so then you just played a 5/5 or 5/6 or whatever. So it's you can't just look at it and be like, oh, this is a million points. Because if you split it, then it's a lower power, easier to remove. What I've been advocating is to make this 6 provisions and 6 power. Because then, like, the Incubus would also be interesting, right? Well, no, the Incubus would also get nerfed, etc. And Incubus also needs a power buff. Like, you just don't play... Nobody plays Relics anymore. Your Sigval plays for +4 points with Shackles. Yeah. Sigval is now an 11 provision card. And Shackles, like, is only 4 less points. And counters it. It's so silly. Like, it's so silly. I should have voted for a Shackles nerf. Or revert or whatever. Does anybody have the list of, like, the rankings? Yeah, I mean, remind me. I'll vote for a Shackles revert next month. There you had it in the comments of this post. Okay, there you go. Changes ordered by the number of votes. So Seagull Provision buff got the most votes? Provision increase nerf, sorry. Blue Dream Cleaver, wow. This is the Pepega population. This is the casual Pepegas all voted for a Cleaver nerf because they saw Cleaver printing points and they were like, he played that card. He got 40 points. Nerf that card. Instead of nerfing Cleaver's... Okay, Cleaver's Custom was actually number 1. So they both got... Like, they just both got cleaved, basically. Tainted Ale is 4th. The Day Sixer is 5th. Whispered was 6th. Open Sesame, Rage of the Sea, King Crumb. King Crumb and Morvid barely. Like, neither of them were a problem in competitive, and this is like Paja's trying to like care about the lower ranks. Reordain and Olaf barely snuck it in. Same with like all of these 9 and 10 changes are kind of bad. Or not bad, but like not great. This is bad. Wait, where's my Rage of the Sea? It wasn't in the tier list maker because it's a leader. Oh yeah, it is. I put it on not good. I should have put it in bad. Oh well, it is done. Crumb Ogre, the scenario is 2600 deck. What are you talking? No. Lirio is the only person who did that, and the scenario got a provision buff for no reason, which I was against. Like, Scenario Ogroids wasn't a competitive deck. It still isn't, but it wasn't. Like, literally no one was playing it at high MMR. And then we buffed Scenario, and then Lirio played it to high MMR. So, I don't know. You tell me what should be changed. The thing that literally caused it, because it literally happened the month before? Or some other thing? I've got 25 there. Bro, right now anybody can get 25-30-ish with anything. Have you watched some, like, have you watched some of, like, watch the stream, watch the way the opponents play. Like, it's not good. The state of the ladder is garbage. It's the best monster deck by a mile. I mean, I don't know that to be true. Like, didn't Lirio also get like Golden Necker Vampires to 2600? Like, it doesn't matter. Control Fruits is nowhere close. Okay, so it's better than Control Fruits in the current meta or in last month's meta. Yeah, it's a deck with like 3 thinning. People really like their NR garbage? Yeah, it seems so. Temple and Vernon Roche both got massive votes. Very Pagman. Whisperer got 7 because I got 2650. Yeah. Whisperer got nerfed because Paja recommended it get nerfed, and Paja posts his recommendations on YouTube and Reddit. Like, that's the recipe. If you wanna like, Shin Lirio didn't have an impact until they started posting on Reddit. Nerf's fine at 7. I think Whisperer was more fine at 3 power. But hey, what do I know? Rage of the Sea got buffed because I got 2700. Yeah. Like, this is where you get like a little too deep into the council stuff and it just becomes unpleasant. So I think I'm going to end it here. We didn't get to finish Act 2 of Expedition 33. We'll do that tomorrow probably. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out and discussing the council. Appreciate it. Cheers. Okay, there's the YouTube, and then let's find someone to raid.